Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, viewers of all ages, I'm the man, Erick Daniel Coughlin. This is the podcast, Just My Thoughts. How you doing? Today's segment on the Thought Tracker, I thought it'd be fun to just not have a segment on the Thought Tracker. I thought it'd be fun instead if we played a little game I like to call State Your Fandom. Um, so as you can already see through the background, and you already know if you know me personally, and if you've been keeping up with the show, you know this. You know that I'm a Chicago guy, right? So that's the Bulls, that's the Bears, that's the Blackhawks, that's the Sox. I'm a Chicago guy. How you doing? So the question of the day is what team am I going to claim? Well, I might as well claim my favorite team. How about the Chicago Bulls? So in this segment of claim your fandom, ideally is to name every player that you've ever seen play within the franchise. Not guys that you know from the past just because you've seen the banners hanging in the stands or you've, done your documentations and you watch old films. Nothing like that. I'm talking about guys that you've lived through and physically seen play. That's what I'm talking about. So in my fandom of my life, of course, I was born in Chicago. I moved to Mississippi around 98, 97, 98. I don't really quite remember. I just remember being a kind of younger kid, 9, 10 years old. So let's just go off of that. Let's just say I'll be 35 in July. Let's just say I started when I was 10. So we got 25 years of Chicago Bulls fandom. So these are all the Bulls I have witnessed play in the last 25 years. Are you ready? Get set. Go. How about Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Ron Harper, Luke Longley, Bill Wellington, Judd Bushler, thank you, Tony Kukoc, Steve Kerr, B.J. Armstrong, Stacey King, Horace Grant, John Paxton, Eddie Curry, Tyson Chandler, Ron Artest, Brad Miller, Elton Brand, Jamal Crawford, Ben Gordon. There's 20 for you. Kirk Heinrich, Luol Deng, Andres Nocioni, Ben Wallace, Tabo Cephalosha, Tyrus Thomas, Derrick Rose, Ronnie Brewer, Keith Bogans, Joakim Noah, Carlos Boozer, Kyle Korver, Mike Dunleavy Jr., Rip Hamilton, Jimmy Butler, Pau Gasol, Nikola Mirotic, Doug McDermott, Robin Lopez, Bobby Portis. There's 40. Nate Robinson, Taj Gibson, Michael Carter Williams, Lonzo Ball, DJ Augustine, John Lucas III, CJ Watson, CJ Watson, thank you very much, Zach LaVine, Kobe White, Chris Dunn, DeMar DeRozan, Alex Caruso, Ayo Dosunmu, Thaddeus Young, Andre Drummond, Nikola Vucevic, Patrick Beverley, Patrick Williams, Derrick Jones Jr., Javonte Green. There's 60. How you doing? Dwayne Wade, Rajon Rondo, Dallin Terry, Chandler Hutchison, Shaquille Harrison, Wendell Carter Jr., Laurie Marketing, Marco Simonovic, Carlick Jones, Tristan Thompson, Goran Dragic, Tony Bradley, Terry Taylor, Jalen Rose, Otto Porter Jr., Jabari Parker, Spencer Dinwiddie, Cameron Payne, Antonio Blakeney, Max Strauss. How about the Johnson boys, Stanley Johnson and Alize Johnson? Those guys only were on the team for like 4 or 5 months. They were signed, they were picked up, they sucked. We got rid of them. How you doing? That's 82 players that I've listed, that I have physically watched, seen play in the span of 25 years. So that's roughly what, like almost every big three that I've ever had. Um, Pretty much every starter and their rotating backup within the last 2.5 decades. A lot of draft picks, um, which actually, over the last, well, let's just say decade, I guess we can count the last decade as the last decade, we've are phenomenal at not keeping draft picks. But we draft them, we bring them in the league, we let them play a year, and then we get rid of them. I hope that doesn't happen to Io, but it's what we've been doing. Or we've been trading them before they underdeveloped, like Wendell Carter. We traded him before he developed. Rumor is we might do the same thing with Patrick Williams, trade him before he develops. Big speculations this year. The Bulls are 50-50. Believe this or not, this is what I've been reading last night. The Bulls are 50-50 on re-signing Kobe White. They don't know if they should give him $40 million or if they should try to collaborate that with the bonus money and look for two big new names. So we might lose Kobe White's what I've been reading last night. Because, and this is the reason why, and I say this, I've been saying this all year, To lose Kobe White means you have to keep Ayo Dosunmu. They're essentially the same guy. So if we do lose Kobe, it's because we're looking for a superstar stud, not someone that's average. We want more than average. We want someone that's going to come in and kill. I'm not saying that Kobe White can't do that. I'm saying that he hasn't done that in the last 4 years. He has spurts where he looks like he deserves to be a starter, and then he has spurts where he looks like he deserves to be in the G League. And that's what we've been dealing with for 3 years, and that's the reason why they're looking at not re-signing him. If you look up his numbers for last season, and then you look up Ayo Dosunmu's numbers for last season, they essentially they cancel each other out. But here's the thing: Ayo's a little bit faster. Ayo's a little bit longer. Ayo plays better defense, which is what we need. So rumor is, now this is just rumor. This is just things that I read. Rumor is we might not even bring back Kobe White to bring in a guy. Now this is just something that it was like, scenarios is what I was reading last night. So none of this isn't etched in stone yet, but believe it or not, a trash name in the NBA is actually being talked about to bring into Chicago, and that's Dylan Brooks from Memphis. I don't want Dylan Brooks. I don't like Dylan Brooks. As a matter of fact, I'll go on record and say I don't want nobody from Memphis, not even John Morant. I'm not interested in anybody on that team. And that's because of the problems that they bring. They come into the league, they go to that city, and they just think that they are allowed to just act like behemoths, and no one else in the league is allowed to act like that but them, and it's just ridiculous. They all got problems, and I don't want none of them. You know what I mean? I don't want the problems that they can bring into my locker room. I just don't need it. How you doing? Especially when you got the draft coming up. We're looking to have a lottery pick this year. That's right. Bulls are expected to have within the first top five. We're battling for top five. Speculations say we could make some trades. We could lend the number one pick in the NBA draft, just like we had the number one pick in the NFL draft. They're talking about their speculations. The Bulls can pull off a number one pick in the NBA draft. And if you didn't been paying attention to the Just My Thoughts Facebook fan page, the Blackhawks has also landed the number one draft pick of this year. So generally, that's always great, right? Right? No, it's not generally great ever at all. Why? Because if you get the number one pick, guess what? That means generally you suck. That's right. The Blackhawks are in a rebuilding program. We've lost everybody that has built us up for the last 10, 15 years. We've been very, very successful. They're all gone. They all got old. They all washed up. So now the Blackhawks have to rebuild for the first time in 15 years. But at least it took them 15 years to have to do that. How you doing? Go Hawks. And you know what? Honestly, even though we've been struggling and we've been getting aged, we half-ass played pretty good last year. Now that Kane's gone and retiring, and now that Taze is gone and Taze is retiring, and sky's the limit for first of all, the draft picks that we're going to get. These guys are probably going to get drafted to come into the team and come into the league and play right off the bat. Hockey is nothing like basketball. It's nothing like football. A lot of young players play hockey, and that's just what it is. If you get drafted, obviously you're probably going to play, and odds are you're probably going to start as well. That's just what they do in hockey. They're like I said, and baseball. Hockey and baseball are very, very, very different than football and basketball in general. I mean, I understand that all sports are different. I understand that, but generally they try to build the same momentum. If you're building a team, you have these guys, your veterans, and then you have your up and comers, and then you have your rookies. Generally, your rookies are never prospect to be in a starting lineup unless it's baseball or hockey. Then you're expected to play. So that's just how that works. But again, this was about me breaking down the Bulls. I gave you 82 Bulls in the course of 25 years. How you doing? All right, so the next time that we play this game called Claim Your Fandom, I'll be doing exactly the same thing. I'll be claiming the Chicago Bears. I will be listening to every Chicago Bear that I've ever seen play in the course of 25 years. But until then, if you like what you've seen and you enjoyed the show, always feel free. Cash at me, Erick Coughlin, #Coughlin Pride.